have a neurological condition. It is one that affects about 4% of the general population. It's a condition where two or more senses of the brain are crossed. The stimulation of one sensory pathway involuntarily leads to the stimulation of another, which can create some unique perceptions of the world for the affected person. It's called synesthesia, meaning a blending of the senses. People who have synesthesia are known as synesthetes. For synesthete, the sound of a passing car can create the taste of cherries, and the touch of a cotton blanket can create a sound like falling rain. While there are many different types of synesthesia, my particular synesthesia is a connection of sound and color, often referred to as chromesthesia. Colors cause me to hear sound, and sound causes me to see color. For example, in talking to you right now, I can see a cloud of violet purple appear right about here, in my field of vision. Because the sound of my voice causes me to see purple, that purple cloud is present every time I use my speaking voice. Every one of your voices has a unique color as well. Ms. Elizabeth Rath, the MC of this event, has a voice that is turquoise blue. Objects that make noise also produce a color. If I snap my fingers, there's a cloud of fuchsia that appears and disappears almost as quickly as it came. While similar pitches share the same color, the timbre of the sound can slightly alter the shade and intensity of the color cloud that I see. If you think that this might become distracting or overwhelming at times, you would be right. And it might be one of the reasons why I love music so much. When I listen to music, I can hear the different melodies and the different musical elements, as most people can. But I can also physically see the music dance through the air. Most music produces beautifully synchronized light shows for me. I didn't realize that this wasn't the normal perception till the start of last year, when in my freshman year singing test for choir, I had just finished singing, and my teacher asked me what color I thought my voice was. Without missing a beat, I answered purple, and her confused look told me that it was not the answer she was expecting. She had been talking about tone color and was expecting an answer like bright or rich, and I had been talking about actual color. Needless to say, it was a new discovery to find out my perceptions were not shared by the rest of the population. I had just assumed that everyone saw the world in this colorful way that I did. I remember going through a period of time where I felt like a weirdo and a freak of nature. I now know that my fears were unfounded, but at the time, I was especially insecure about it. As a musician, it made sense for me to turn to music to get rid of all that insecurity. I started creating electronic music to help me explore and come to terms with the synesthesia and what it meant for my life. I started creating music that produced colors I liked, and being able to produce something for the exact colorful effect that I wanted was definitely therapeutic. It wasn't long before I had enough songs to release a short album, which I titled Synesthesia. Every song had a distinct and unique color. Of course, no one else would actually be able to see what I was seeing when they listened to any of the pieces, but it was important to me to present my full reality with synesthesia woven tightly throughout in a tangible and public form. One of my favorite songs on that album is called Sleep to Dream. It came about as I was discovering more about how colors interacted with each other for me. I was lying awake one night, as I often do. I couldn't fall asleep. And there's an analog clock that hangs on my wall. I've had to take it out of my room on several occasions because it just goes tick, 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 and I just see red, red, red. And it makes it almost impossible to fall asleep. So I was lying awake listening to this tick, tick, red, and I thought, oh, if only I can make this red, red, red go away. If you remember from elementary school, the complementary color to red is green. So I wrote this song, Sleep to Dream, with the intention of creating a dark green color that would cancel out the red of the clock. In a sense, it's a lullaby to help myself get to sleep. And as the vocals come in, it's my color, purple. So the song ends with this very floaty purple color that I think complements the dark green beautifully. I have a video here of Sleep to Dream that will hopefully give you a sense of what I see when I listen to this song. You will need to imagine that the screen is much larger and takes up your whole field of vision, and that the black you see in the background is the world around you. To embrace my synesthesia, and I'm more willing to talk about it with others. As I learned more about myself, I realized that I could use synesthesia to understand more about those around me. In people that I know well, I have noticed that the color of their voice can change just slightly based on how they are feeling. If a person is getting sick, feeling overly stressed, or just not feeling like themselves, I can often perceive this based on a change in their voice color. When my dad is just about to get a cold, his normally bright shade of robin's egg blue changes to a much darker shade of blue. And one time at work, I could sense that my coworker was on the verge of a panic attack, and I encouraged her to take a break to head it off. This isn't some sort of magical ability or anything. I've simply learned that the more I listen to a person, the more I'm able to understand about them. Think about that for a minute. The more I listen to a person, the more I'm able to understand about them. For the past few minutes, you have been listening to my voice. You have listened to me describe a condition that you may or may not have heard of before. I acknowledge that I cannot prove to you that synesthesia even exists, or even that I do indeed have it. And yet, I am betting that you believe I am telling you the truth about how I perceive the world. You came today with an open mind, ready to experience something new. And you allowed me to speak. And I shared my thoughts and experiences. Our society seems to be one in which we think we are all experts. The tendency is to quickly insist that our ideas, opinions, and perspectives are the only ones that are valid. The comment section of a YouTube video reveals that it only takes about 30 seconds for an individual to completely understand what is going on in a video, and they can make authoritative and sweeping judgments about a video's content, many of which appear to be false after a few minutes of research. In short, anything that does not line up with our personal experiences or our vantage point is often dismissed as untrue or fabricated. But you did not do that today. You came with an open mind and allowed me to speak. In order to experience the full diversity and color of our society, we must give people the chance to speak, and to speak often. We must learn to listen with an open mind and give consistent voice to those around us. Synesthesia has taught me that the world is bigger than any one person's experiences. Conflicting perceptions do not have to lead to battles which strike down one view and declare another victorious, as seen in so many posts on social media. How much less conflict would there be, and how much different would our newsfeeds look if we began with our minds open to the idea that another's viewpoint, while different, is equally true and equally real? If we went about our daily interactions with the intention of keeping an open mind to all ideas, opinions, and viewpoints, then I believe we have the potential to better our communities and better our society. How much less conflict would there be if we allowed others to live in their truth? By admitting that the human experience has the potential to range far beyond what we understand or perceive, we have waded into a world that is alive with color. If you can accept my experiences with synesthesia as ones that are true and valid, regardless of never experiencing them yourself, or possibly not even understanding them, then surely you can learn to accept ideas, opinions, and viewpoints of everybody, regardless of whether or not you agree with them. Wouldn't it make sense to move forward away from the darkness of non-acceptance? And how fitting would it be if, moving forward, we began with the acceptance of a condition as colorful and as unique as synesthesia?